Attack!
Hello there, today I'm gonna tie a Flatwing Sandeel. Well, the Sandeel patterns I've been using, I've been trying a lot of different types over the last couple of years, and you know, my fly tying and my fly fishing tends to move a lot. So this is not my first Sandeel pattern, but this is, well, the final, well, perhaps not even the final one, but at least one I'm very pleased with, that really does the trick. I'm gonna do this on a tube, because if you do this on a tube, as you could see, you get a lot of advantages, because you can attach a small single, double or triple hook, but you can attach them with a swing tube like this. And this means your hook is hanging free, and when your hook is hanging free, you will not entangle as much. You will not have the feathers entangle down across the hook bend all the time. I'm gonna use one of these. This is a Petit magic head, and these will add a tremendous amount of life to your fly. So basically, this is the size 13. It's a fairly large one, but you can simply just cut it down in size whenever. And there is the same amount of heads in the size 13 pack as in the size 12. So actually all the time I use the 13 one, because I can simply just downsize whenever. So I take this Future Fly tube in 1.8 millimeter. I cut it down so it has a tip. So I cut it so it's pointy, because then I can simply easily put this into my magic head here, like so. I'm gonna cut off the other end here, like that, and then I'm gonna take my lighter and simply just heat it in order to make a color, to make the head here has something to move up against, like that. And pull this all the way up here, like so, and there you have the front end of this. I'm gonna cut this off around there, I think, because I want a fairly large part of tubing, so I can move the hook as far down as I really would like. Then I'm gonna take and I'm out, so I'm just gonna take from my stash here. I'm gonna take a US tube, because if you take a US tube, it's very easy to have the body. It's gonna be silver with this US tube, and it's very easy to make a body with this, and also it adds a lot of weight to the fly, and not a lot of weight, but some weight to the fly, which makes the fly fish instantaneously. Then I'm gonna do the same in the other end of the tube here. Just make a small something like that. Yes. And then I attach all of this to my tube fly needle, like this. Then now I have this US tube that's going to be the body of the fly, but it's also it can move from side to side, like so. And then I'm going to measure out carefully around 1/2 centimeter up here, and where that is, I'm going to simply add a bit of super glue to keep my US tube in place. So I'm going to add a bit of super glue there. Then I'm gonna push this up to where I want it to be. That's gonna be around there. And now it's stuck. Now it stays there. So then I'm gonna take my tying thread, and then I'm gonna tie first behind the US tube, like this. And I can see this is not completely secure on my needle, like that. Gonna tie some tying thread behind, again to ensure that my US tube stays where it is supposed to be, like that. But also this is gonna be the starting point of my fly. And then I'm gonna take a small bundle of bucktail. This is not a very difficult fly. It has some. The most difficult part of this is going to be making the head with the UV glue, but well, the fly here is in its own right not a very difficult fly, but it's a very very nice fly. It looks very well in the water, moves very nice. So I'm taking some bucktail in white here, and this beginning phase here determines how long you want your fly to be. So I want mine to be a fairly large one, because I have seen some pretty nice fish, and also even some small fish taking quite large flies as of late, like that. And that's the first part. I'm gonna cut off this bucktail here, as close to the tube as possible. Like so. Just gonna make sure I tie down all the stumps here, not because it's important, but because it looks better, like that. Like so. And just to ensure everything is gonna stay there, I'm simply just gonna take a bit more of super glue. Like so. That was perhaps a bit too much. I have a leftover feather here lying around. I'm just gonna remove some of the super glue with that. And then I'm making a whip finish as soon as I'm done gluing everything to my hands. Like that. I'm using the Future Fly tying thread as well. Very strong, very durable thread. So, well, basically that's the first part of the fly. And then I'm gonna go to the other end of this US tube, and as you can see, the silver US tube here is gonna be, well, basically the entire body. So I'm tying all the way up to there, making a bundle of tying thread here that I'm gonna tie on top of, but I'm leaving a piece here without any tying thread, and that's important because we're gonna use that to ensure that our UV head here is gonna be nice and tidy. So I'm building a foundation of tying thread here, so it tapers down and is almost as thick as the US tube in one end. Hope you can see that. Then I take some bucktail, white bucktail again, not as much as first time, but because what you don't want, do not want these flies to be too bulky. If they're too bulky, they will simply not look like a Sandeel out in the water. So it's very important that you do not use too much materials. This is something like this. It's not a very big bundle. Maybe that's even too much. I'll take a bit more off. You see, not a very big bundle. And then I'm going to tie this down so it's going to be a bit shorter than the first one. Again, I'm gonna try to adjust it so it's all the way around, like that. And if it isn't all the way around, you can simply, with bucktail, you can simply move it all the way around. Like that. Good. Okay. Next up is the flatwing feathers. And well, flatwing feathers, if you're going to buy a whole cape, a whole saddle, can be quite expensive, or is quite expensive. Not can be, but it is quite expensive. So I've made some small packs here with a lot of so I personally, and I do this by hand, selected these feathers from the saddle, so you get the best flatwing feathers possible. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take two white and two grizzly olive, and I tie these in at different locations. So one is this one I tied on my side of this, and I'm gonna do one on your side as well. But what's great about these feathers is they're so long, so you can easily use one feather for one fly. So you don't need to take only the tips and fast move through the number of feathers. What you have to do is I cut it off so it had some pretty nasty looking stumps here. But what I'm gonna do is I'm simply gonna take this and then I'm gonna taper it with my scissor so it looks better. Like so. So the other feather, the left part of the remaining part of the feather is now also tapered. I'm gonna tie this on the other side of this, like that. And depending on how big you want your fly, then that is of course is affecting the number of feathers you should use. I'm actually gonna use 3 white on this one. I think that's gonna be good. I just need to find another one here. That one looks good. It was a short feather. The other one, normally you can get 3 from 1. And I'm gonna tie this on the bottom here. Tie this down on the bottom here. Like so. And now what I have to do is take some grizzly olive ones. Just need to select a good one here from my saddle. That one is nice. These are unfortunately quite difficult to come by, these saddle feathers. So I try to keep up with the demand, but it's difficult to get them in good quality. But I can guarantee you that every single one I have in my shop, I have checked, so it's in perfect working order. So I put one on top here, and then I'm gonna take the other one. I'm just gonna taper it as I did before. Like so. And as you can see, a feather like this could easily be made into 4, at least 3 usable parts of this flatwing here. Tying that down on top here, like so. Like that. Good, I'm just gonna cut off away this bucktail. We don't need that hanging around anymore. And now I'm gonna take a small bundle of olive bucktail. Simply to, add the last part of this. Give it a bit more coloring. Just need to find the right part of bucktail here on my bucktail. Like so. Again, I need to make sure that this is fairly even in length. Not completely even, but fairly. I do not want to use a hair stacker, for instance, on this, but something like that. Again, try to adjust it so it's gonna go all the way around here. And this should be shorter than the white, like that. Like so. And then I'm gonna take a bit of flesh, and here I use angel hair, but some crystal flesh, and well, whatever you have is probably gonna do the job. But this angel hair here is a mixture of greenish olive gold one, and that looks fairly nice in the water and looks nice on this particular fly, like so. Just gonna cut off, take out the largest one of these, and then I'm gonna distribute it so it's gonna come again almost completely around this fly, like that, and that's gonna give a nice effect out in the water. Cut all this off. like that. And then I'm gonna tie also on the small stump of the magic head to make sure that that is not too thick, like this. And basically I'm gonna shape the base for my head now, like that. Do a whip finish. Got off. And then I'm ready to apply my super glue. And since I have a top part of this fly now, sometimes I only do this in white and with white feathers and not the olive feathers, then the place you put the head, the eyes is not important. But since you have a top here, then of course you want your eyes to be on the side. So I'm gonna apply a bit of glue here, simply to have something to fasten the eyes onto. And I'm gonna take some opal eyes. That looks very well on this fly, but I've used some fluorescent yellow and red as well. So basically what you have laying around is fine. It's not very specific. Just as long as you like it, then it's good. Like that. And then you can get a lot of different UV pens and stuff like that, UV lamps. I have 2 here, for instance, that costs around 500-600 kroner. But the best one is actually this one. It's a UV pen that really works well. And I have those at a very good price. I have located the manufacturer. So I buy them direct from the factory, which means I can sell these at around 1/3 of the price of what they normally sell for. So if you're in need of a good of a good UV pen, yeah, look no further. That was on one side, and then I'm gonna do exactly the same on the other side. I like the buck bond here. I actually have a very nice deal on a buck bond kit where you get the tips and the bottle here and the UV pen as well for a very nice price. And that kit really is well the best UV tying kit I have tried. So I'm very pleased with that. It does not take very long to actually get the UV light to cure. So it is not tacky, which is kind of like the biggest problem with this UV stuff is you often get flies that is a bit tacky on the top. And there you see I have the 2 eyes, and basically what I have to do now is fill out the void here in between and coat the eyes again with a small thin layer of UV glue to ensure that everything is as it should be. And really this here is quite intense. This UV pen. The same on the lower side of this. Covering one of the eyes. Applying the light here. And I need to cover the other eye. And well, basically there you have it. One last thing you can do is, of course, if you want to, then you think perhaps the head here is too big, you can of course adjust that down and cut that down in size. And as I was saying, when you have this, you can see you can. I've used this in orange. It comes in clear as well. I'm going to use the clear one. But as you can see, I get the hook fairly far in. Fairly far behind the fly here, which will make your fly catch catch and hook more fish, which is kind of the ideal and one of the things that really is good about this. Also, since this is hanging loose, you have tied the knot inside this, so it simply hangs loose. Then you will not get entangled as much. And if you think that this is a bit too big, then you can simply just adjust it downward, like so, and that's fairly easy. And this will make your fly dance like crazy. I really like these magic hits. Like so. This trumpet here will make this fly dance, and all these bucktail will move a lot, and the angel hair combined with the flatwings. This fly looks just absolutely phenomenal out in the water. So well, that was it. A small, well, not a small, but a sandeel. And as I was saying, you can make this in any size you want. This is kind of like the medium one. This is the one I'm probably fish the most with. But I have them in, as you can see here, a bit smaller versions, and nice as well. And then this one. This one is the mother of them all. This is 16 centimeters, and this fly is actually not one I've done. This is one I got from one of my friends. We were fishing together, and I've been fishing with him for a long time. And one year I've been having a bad season. So and I told him about that, and he said, Daniel, as soon as during this summer vacation. At one time, I'm gonna call you, and when I call you, you're gonna throw everything you have in your hands, and then come see me. So I forgot about this, and then during the summer vacation, all of a sudden I got this call from this guy. His name is Daniel as well, and he's really a gifted fisherman. And and he said, it's on, Daniel, get here now. So I drove down, and we started fishing, and he put on this big fly, and I laughed a bit, and I thought to myself, that how is that possible? We saw a lot of fish, and within the first hour I'd caught 4 nice sea trout, and I was laughing, why haven't you caught anything? Why don't you fish? And then he simply just looked me in the eye and said, well, because the fish you've caught are nice, but they're small, and I'm not fishing for the small ones. And we were fishing, and I was catching, but at the end of that day, I'd landed 8 sea trouts, around, maybe around a kilo, something like 1.5 kilos. He'd only landed one, but his was 3.5 kilos, and he'd lost one that was even bigger. So while I was having fun with all my small flies and my brendas and stuff like that, he simply did not want to mess about with the small ones, because as he said, he'd caught enough of those. I know that's a crazy story, but that's what he said. He'd caught enough of those, and the fish he was fishing for was not 1 kilo, it was 8. I know, so he didn't get one at 8 kilo that day, or well, at least one at 8 kilo. But in principle, the fish he was fishing for was not 50 centimeters. It was 70, 75, maybe even 80 centimeters. And he said the chances of getting one of those really big ones is higher. It's better if I use this large fly. I'm probably not gonna catch all the small fish. But anyway, I've caught enough of those. When I go fishing for the big ones. And I think that was a pretty bold, pretty cool statement. But I was happy with my fish, and but the larger flies here, I'm gonna give them a serious go this fall and this spring, to see if I can get one of the really big ones as well. Well, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this, and of course remember to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Well, thank you. Bye.